lunchtime on the 17th, I think it's the 17th of January 2025. I'm going down the Canal bank here in Enfield. It's very nice, very pleasant today. But today I want to talk about the culture in Ireland in 2025. And I'm not talking about, when I talk about culture, highfalutin things, high-minded things like art or paintings or books or theatre. I'm not talking about that sort of stuff. I'm talking about culture being defined as people like us do things like this. In other words, how do we deal with, how do we interact with our fellow man and woman? And I'm afraid on the 17th of January 2025 that our culture is not in a great place. And the reason for that, or the reason I say that rather, is recently I've published, in the last week, a video about two topics that have been very noteworthy and very newsworthy over the last while. One, the Enoch Burke situation, and two, the Conor McGregor trial. So this week I published two videos. The Enoch Burke one was to do with a poll that I came across there in the Sunday Independent, which asked the question, what should we do with Enoch Burke now? And the questions, or the options rather, the answers were send him back to jail, or go after his assets, or ignore him, or I can't remember the other one. But 22%, oh yeah, reinstatement in the job. 22% went with reinstatement in the job, and 78% went for various options between going after his assets and jailing him again and so on. That's one video that I made. The other video that I made was about Conor McGregor and the application by Nikita Hand for an injunction to prevent McGregor from using the CCTV footage that was discovered in that trial as part of the discovery process. She was looking for an injunction preventing McGregor. I hope that's not too bad now on the mic. The wind is a devil for distorting sound. But she was looking for an injunction preventing McGregor from disseminating or distributing the CCTV footage. And there was a suggestion from online that a business associate of McGregor's, an Italian fella, was going to use the footage to try to somehow or other boost McGregor's, the promotion of McGregor's beer in Italy or elsewhere. But I published a video about both of those things, Enoch Burke and Conor McGregor. And why I despair about the culture is the comments. I absolutely despair because of the comments, even though the comments were a minority on both videos, but they were a significant minority. And when I say a significant minority, a larger majority than, or minority than you'd expect, comments of what I believe are an abhorrent nature, appalling comments. Now there's no doubt about it, the comments on both videos are in the minority, but the minority is a fairly big lump, and in this day and age in 2025, as a reflection of how people view other people and how people interact with other people, and how, as I said at the outset, the culture is defined. People like us do things like this. These comments, albeit a minority, are absolutely appalling and disgusting in my view, with no empathy or sympathy, and reflect a sort of a curtain twitching necklace, pearl clutching attitude to stick your nose into other people's business and drag us back to a time when the Catholic Church in Ireland, ruled the roost and held sway, and Archbishop McDade, or whatever his name was in his pomp. Not McDade, what was his name? Can't remember. But when the relationship between church and state was so unhealthy and so close, and people, children, were being abused in industrial schools and in being abused by members of the religious and so on. All of that flushed out in the last 20, 30 years, and yet there appears to be a sick, prurient desire on behalf of some people to go back to that and to somehow or other treat people like victims of rape with some sort of disdain, some sort of hatred, disrespect, and also to treat people of difference with difference. For example, homosexuals, transsexuals, transgender people, gay people, foreign people. There seems to be an open, overt willingness, without any embarrassment by some people, to take out their bigotry, their hatred, and dragging it along the street like a multicoloured raincoat. Words have absolutely no qualms, no reservations about disclosing this desire to look at, for example, the CCTV footage in the McGregor case, even though it's quite obvious why any victim of a sex crime, any victim of rape, would not want her business to be published in video form for the general amusement and prurience of the general public. And if anybody put themselves in her place and even imagine themselves, for example, having been caught in a compromising position in a video or a photograph, why wouldn't they want to stop the dissemination and the publication of that widely? And why wouldn't they want to stop it when the purpose is to embarrass her and degrade her and diminish her and to sell beer? Why would any right-minded, rational person not want to quash that and prevent that sort of nonsense, that sort of second bite at the cherry? As the judge said, McGregor gets a second bite at the cherry, but if he does, he puts in an appeal and he brings his case to the Court of Appeal or a Superior Court. Similarly with the video that I did about Enoch Burke and the tweet and the poll in the Sunday Independent, and the mother then of one of the children there, one of the pupils, deciding to go on News Talk or wherever and criticise Enoch Burke standing outside the school and how disruptive it was. The comments and the reactions to that woman's position and view and her child's view, and the comments and reactions to Burke's repeated, manifest, overt, shameless breach of court orders on a repeated basis. The willingness of people for their own agenda rooted in the dark medieval past when religion held sway in this country. The willingness of those people to make comments and remarks, hurtful remarks about others, whether the other was the pupil at the centre of the original dispute, or gay people generally, or trans people generally, or non-believers. The willingness of people to publish and stand over absolutely sickening comments is what gives me to despair, quite frankly, about the culture in Ireland in 2025. I do accept they're a minority, but they shouldn't be that big a minority, unfortunately. And we have a lot of work to do, in my view. I know people will take views and exception to this video, etc. I don't care. I don't care. And I'm blocking and deleting people there every day of the week. People who are unable or unwilling to afford basic human rights, basic dignity and respect to other people simply because the other people are different to them. And what we're talking about is bigotry dressed up as some sort of a principle. Anyway, that's why I am concerned about the culture in the country in January 2025. It's another lovely day here, 17th of January 2025, down the Canal bank in Enfield. It's a lovely spot for a walk there at lunchtime. What do you think? What do you think of what I have to say? What do you think about the culture? Have you concerns about it? Or are you happy? Are you one of those people that's trying to drag us back to the medieval times when we were tugging the forelock and bending over at the sight of a priest or any religious, and when the rosary beads was being swung around the place? I'd be interested to hear your comments down below. And here's to changing the culture for the better in 2025.